Hello everyone, today is the revision session for topic 3. So topic 3 is about time value for money. So in this topic, mainly we focus on the present value and future value. So this topic, we have 3 different learning outcomes. So the first learning outcome is a present value and a future value. Alright? So we're gonna learn about what is the meaning of present value, future value, and what is the calculations of present value and future value considering cash flow. Because cash flow is one of the important factors which is used to calculate the present value or the future value of investment. Second learning outcome is about interest rates. Right, so here we're going to learn about what is the nominal annual rates or nominal interest rates, and another one is the effective or real interest rates. Alright, so of course we're not going to talk much about the nominal annual rate or nominal interest rate, because nominal annual rate or interest rate is decided by the central bank or state bank, like in Vietnam. And third learning outcome will be special applications in relation of time value. So in these special applications, we're going to talk about the 4 different kinds of applications in relation of time value, such as cash flows that used to calculate the future values, right? Or how much cash flows we require to have a future value. Second applications will be loan amortizations, in simple language. How much money we require to have repayments of loan. How much money we require. Money required means how much equal installments we require in order to repay our loan. So this is called loan amortization. And the third one is find interest rates. If time value is given, if time is given, future value is given, present value is given, and how to find interest rates, right? And the last one is if the present value is given, future value is given, how to calculate time, the periods. Right? So let's start. So we start with the first learning outcome, which is present value and future value, right? Now, what does it mean, present value? Present value means how much money you require right now in order to earn a predetermined value. Alright? So I can give you examples. For example, let's say you're planning to study abroad. Right? So you plan to study after 5 years. So you require $50,000, for example, to study abroad. So in order to have that $50,000, how much money you need right now in order to invest to get $50,000. So whatever money we require right now, that's only present value. Alright? Future value. Future value means what will be the value of investment in future. Let's say you are investing $5,000 right now with 10% rate of interest for next 5 years. So after 5 years, whatever will be the value of that present money that you are investing now, that called a future value. Alright? Okay. So in present value and future values, we have a different way to explain it, present value or a future value. Alright? So remember, another name of present value is a discounted future value. if future value will be discounted, after discounted whatever value we got it, that's called the present value, right? So we can call it discounted future value, alright? Another way to explain a future value is if you compound present value, that called a future value. Compound means the interest which increase the principal amounts. Alright? So the idea is that if principal amounts going to increase in future, so whatever will be the value of principal amounts in future, that's where you call the future value. Right? So we can call it compound or compounded present value is called the future. Right? Okay. So if you want to calculate present value or future value, we need to know some basic informations about some factors or some things that we use it to calculate present value or future value. So we require mainly three things. We need to know that. Alright. First one is cash flows. Cash flow is a part of money that could be in or out, depends upon your transactions. Are you investing? So of course you're going to have a cash outflows, right? Initially cash outflows, or if you are borrowing, initially you're going to have cash inflows, right? So cash flow is the value that we use it to estimate present value or future value. As when I'm explaining about present value or future value, then probably you will understand the present value and future value. And sorry about the projector today, because something wrong with the projector, so that's why it is quite blurred. Alright, but I think it's not really blurred to understand it. But I'm really sorry about it. Okay, so second thing, we require to have interest rates. Alright? Interest is a rate that probably we earn it if we invest it, or we pay it if we are borrowing. So interest rate has a different name that we use it to estimate present value or future value. So sometimes we have a different name of interest rate, such as we call it RRR, alright? Required rate of return. Sometimes we call it discount rate, because discount rate means the rate that discounts the future value. RRR stands for required rate of return. Required rate of return means you need that rate of return in order to have a future value, or in order to earn some amount of money. Right? Sometimes we call it opportunity cost of capital. If you are borrowing, consider as your debts or capital, and whatever interest you pay over capital, that's called the cost of capital, right? So opportunity cost of capital. So it has a different name, but the same idea is the rate. All right. Third thing that we require is the time. All right. So of course, time is one of the very important factors when we investing or borrowing money, because as the time change, value of money change over the period. Alright, so that's the name of our topic 3, time value for money. So time, the periods that we require in order to invest money for that particular period. Right? Okay, so that's all about the factors we require to have a present value or future value. Alright, so let's start with the present value or future value. So here, we start with the cash flows. As I mentioned, that cash flows is one of the important factors that we require to estimate the present value or future value. Right? So cash flows, we have mainly 4 types of cash flows that help us to give the value of money in present or in future. Right? So we have 4 types of cash flows. So the first one is a single amount. Single amounts cash flows means when you are investing just a one amount for one particular period. Alright, let's say you are investing $1,000 for 5 years. Alright, so during these 5 years, you are not putting any other money in your investment, in that investment. Alright, so that's called the single amounts cash flows. Alright, okay, so I can write the examples of the single amounts. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so you invested first year, right? Or right now, let's say I would say right now. Right now, you invested $1,000 for next 3 years, right? So let's say 3 years, right? Second year, you did not invest. Third year, you did not invest. Second year, of course, you did not invest. Third year, you did not invest. Alright, so what will be the value of money at the end of the year? Right, so that is an example of your single amounts investment. Alright, so here we gonna calculate single amounts cash flows by considering present value or the future value. So means we gonna calculate present value, future value using the single period or single amount cash flow. Alright, so present value. So what will be the formula of present value? So formula for present value is future value divided by 1 plus RT. FV stands for future value. Alright. PV stands for present value. Alright. R stands for rate, right? Or rate of interest. And T stands for a period. For that particular, we are investing, like as in this example, investing for 3 years. So 3 years is the period, alright? And of course, 1,000 is the present value. We are calculating the present value. So this is the formula to estimate the present value. Alright, so this is the example of this formula is applicable when we are talking about single amounts or single period cash flow. Alright. So formula for future value is future value equals to present value 1 plus RT. Alright? PV stands for present value. Alright? Of course, R stands for, as I mentioned, it's a rate. And T stands for time. Alright? So, this is the formula about the future value. So here we have our present value and future value for considering a single amount. So remember, when we have a single amount, these two formulas will be applicable. Alright? So that's about the single amount. So you can have a look at your lecture slides. So you have multiple examples and activities are given in your slides, so that will help you to revise these formulas. Alright? Now we move on to the second cash flows. So second cash flow is annuity. Alright, so we have 4 types of cash flow. I quickly talk about these 4. First cash flow is a single period. You are investing just on one amount for one particular period. Alright. Second one is the annuity. Alright. Annuity means multiple payments, but these payments are equal. Alright. So in other words, annuity means equal periodic payments. Equal periodic payments means, let's say you are investing money for 5 years, right? So every year you invest or you deposit a fixed amount. So in that example, you can see that right now 1,000 invested for 3 10,000, 1,000. Alright, so that is the example of the annuity. Alright, third one is a perpetuity. Perpetuity means investment considering only cash flows and the rate of interest. When the time is unlimited, we call it infinity. When time is unlimited or infinity, in that case, what will be the value of money? Right? So in that case, we will calculate only present value, no future value. Why? Then I will come to perpetuity, then I will explain more about that. Right? And the last one is a mixed stream. Right? Mixed stream means when we don't have just equal periodic payments. We have a periodic payments, but the payments is not equal. Right? 1 year, let's say 1,000, second year 500, third year 200, fourth year $50, something like this. But our investment is not the equal. Right? Our payments, our cash flows are not equal. Right? So we talk about the second cash flows. Second cash flow is a annuity. Alright? Annuity means equal periodic payment. Equal periodic payment is called annuity. Alright? So here we have two different formulas for or calculations of annuity. First one is ordinary annuity, and second one is annuity due. Alright? So we have ordinary annuity, and we have annuity due. Alright? Now here, what is the difference between ordinary annuity and annuity due? Ordinary annuity means when we have an investment or cash flows at the end of the period. When we have cash flows at the end of the period, that's called the ordinary annuity. And annuity due means when cash flows in the beginning of the period. Alright? So I write that for you. So ending, which means at the end of the period, and due means beginning. Alright? I repeat again, cash flows at the end of the period and cash flows in the beginning of the period. So ending ordinary, beginning is due. Correct? So I give you a quick example of ordinary and annuity due. So let's say you are making investment. If you make investment at the end of the period, at the end of the month, let's say for example we're going to make investment for 3 months. Alright? So if you invest at the end of the month, so let's say January, February and March. So 31st of January, 28th of February and 31st of March. So if you are making investment at the end of the period, your cash outflows are at the end of the period. So in that case, we will apply ordinary annuity to estimate the present value or future value. Right? If you are making investment in the beginning of period, such as 1st of January, 1st of February, or 1st of March. So what will be the value of investment at the end of March? Or future value. So in that situations, in that particular cash flows, we will apply annuity due. Annuity due. Okay. So of course, ordinary annuity, we have present value, future value, and annuity due, we also have a present value and future value. Alright, so we start with the annuity due. So annuity due, we have a present value. PV stands for present value. FV stands for a future value. Right? So the formula for annuity due present value is a annuity due, therefore 1 plus R. Alright, this is the present value. And future value is a plus R as it's a future value. Right? Okay. So same formula is for ordinary annuity as well, but only the difference is in ordinary annuity we gonna earn less money. If we are making investment using ordinary annuity, means if we are making investment at the end of the period, so in that case our value of investment, future value of investment will be lower than the annuity due future value. Alright, so therefore formula is almost same except 1 plus R. Right? So I write for you. Present value is and future value is so that's the formula of ordinary and due. Alright? The difference between due and ordinary is end of the period you're gonna earn extra, and here you're gonna earn less than the annuity due. So why is that? So the idea is that if you are making an investment, annuity due value gonna be higher. Investment value of annuity due for future value. Future value of annuity due will be higher than the ordinary annuity future value. Alright? Why like this? Right? I write for you, I give you an example. So let's say you are making investment for 3 periods. Right? January, February, and March. Alright? So let's say ordinary annuity means 31st of January. Alright? 28th of March, alright, and 28th of February and 31st of March, alright, and annuity due is a 1st of January, 1st of February, 1st of March, alright. So what will be the value of investment at the end of the March? At the end of first quarter, what will be the value, future value of our investment? So if we have here if we have annuity due, and here we have an ordinary annuity. So ordinary annuity due. So the value of annuity due, future value, will be higher than the ordinary annuity. Because the reason is that in ordinary annuity you start making investment at the end of January. So your interest will be started from 31st of January. So 31st of January to 31st of January to 28th of February, 1 month. 28th of February to 31st of March, 2 months. Right? So at the end of March, you're gonna earn 2 months interest in ordinary annuity. Right? On the other hand, annuity due 1st of January to 1st of February. Right? 1st of February to 1st of March, 2 months, and 1st of March to 31st of March, 3 months. Alright? So in annuity due, you're gonna earn 3 months interest. Alright? So if you're involved in future investment. Alright? So that's the ideas behind the value of annuity due and ordinary annuity. Therefore, in formulas, in annuity due, we have a 1 plus R, 1 plus R, so it means we are extra compared to the present value and the future value. Alright? So that's all about the annuity. Alright? Now we move on to the next cash flows, which is a perpetuity. Alright? Perpetuity. Perpetuity means unlimited cash flows, right? When life is infinity, when we call it perpetuity, right? Right? We call it perpetuity. Alright? So we're gonna have of course present value and future value. Alright, so I talk about the present value first. So how to calculate the present value of perpetuity? So as I said that life is infinity, it means time period is not given. Alright? So if no time period, so the formula is cash flows divided by R, rate of interest. CF stands for cash flows and R stands for rate of interest. Alright, wait. So whatever value we got in, this is called the present value of your perpetuity. Alright? And future value. Future value cannot calculate. Right? We cannot calculate the future value. Alright? The reason is quite obvious because future value means a time. Future could be next month, next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years onwards. Alright? So but in perpetuity, there is no any time period. If there is no any time period, we cannot estimate the future value. Alright, so in perpetuity, we have only formula for present value, which is cash flows divided by rate. Alright, so that's all about your third cash flows, which is perpetuity. Now we move on to the last cash flow, which is a mixed stream. Alright. Mixed stream means when you have unequal periodic payments. Alright? When we have unequal periodic payment. When we have unequal periodic payments, so in that case, we call it mixed stream. Means we have a mixed cash flows, right? Not the same cash flows or equal cash flows, alright? So we're going to estimate two values here, as usual, which is present value and future value, alright? formula for mixed stream is same like as single amount. Alright? But the periods will be different. Alright? So let's say we are investing for 3 years. Alright? First year is 1,000, second year is 500, third year is again 1,000. So this is the example of mixed stream, unequal periodic payments. Alright? So in that case, we will calculate the present value for first year, right? Then we calculate the present value of second year cash flows. Then we calculate present value of third year cash flows, right? So in that case, third year present value, second year present value, and first year present. Sorry, opposite. Right? Because we are calculating the present value. All right. So remember, in present value, we calculate the 3 different present value because our cash flows are different. So after estimating the 3 different present value, we will add all. Alright? So after adding all, whatever number we got it, that's the final number of our investment. Alright? That's the final number of our value. Alright? Same thing gonna happen in future value. Alright? So let's say you invested first year 100, second year is 200, third year is 300. Alright? So you will calculate the future value of first year, future value of second year cash flows, and future value of third year cash flows. Then you add up all. So whatever number you got it, that's number considered as your total future value of your mixed stream cash flows. Alright? So that's all about your cash flows. So make sure you have a look at your lecture slides once again. So we have practiced a couple of questions already in the class. So you can have a look slides and class activities, and that will help you to understand the applications of the formulas. Alright, make sure you have a look at your slides again. Right. So that's all about present value and future value. So first learning outcome explanation. Now we move on to the second learning outcome. Second learning outcome is about interest rate. Interest rates. So we have 2 types of interest rates here, right? So the first one is a nominal annual rate, all right? And second one is a effective annual rate, right? NAR and EAR, right? So what does it mean, nominal annual rate? So nominal annual rate is the rate that normally bank offer to lender or borrower, right? Normally, whenever bank offer rate of interest or rate of investment, bank normally give them that rate annually for 1 year, alright? But it doesn't mean that we gonna be involved in that investment for 1 year, alright? Probably for 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, right? So in that case, our rate is gonna be changed, right? So whatever rate will be changed, that's rate we call effective annual rate, right? So nominal annual rate, as I said, that bank normally offer, right, to lender or borrower, right? But bank is that financial institutions which does not determine the rate of interest. Rate of interest is normally determined by the central bank, Reserve Bank, or Federal Reserve, different country, it has a different name. Alright. So in Vietnam they call state bank. Alright. So nominal annual rate, so we're not going to learn about the calculations of nominal annual rate because there are different factors and reasons behind to determining the annual rate by the state bank. So that topic probably you're not going to study in this syllabus because that really belongs to banking and financial institutions. Alright. Of course, we're going to learn about the effective annual rate. So what will be the formula for effective annual rate? To estimate effective annual rate. So the formula is 1 plus R M minus 1. Alright? So here R stands for rate and M stands for is M, not N. Right? So that M stands for number of compounds. Alright? Number of compound, what does it mean? Number of compound. For example, we are making investment or cash outflows for cash outflows are semi-annually. Alright? So in that case, number of compound will be 2. Alright? If cash flows are quarterly, number of compound will be 4. Alright? If investment is monthly, then number of compounds will be 12. Alright? And if weekly, number of compound will be 52s. If dailies, number of compound will be 365. So that's the minimum number of compounds. So the idea is the conclusion of this nominal annual rate and effective annual rate is always remembered when we are estimating our effective annual rate. So effective annual rate generally higher than the normal annual rate. Alright? The reason behind is that because effective annual rate is based upon the compound. So compound means any kinds of interest which increase the principal amounts. Alright? Interest increase which maximize the principal amounts, that's called the compound. Alright? So in effective annual rates, we gonna have multiple times of compounds compared to the nominal annual rates. So we have principal amounts and we have an interest plus principals for that particular period. In second period, if you do not withdraw that money, we have an interest over it. Alright? So, and then again, principal plus interest. Principal plus interest. So, for example, if number of compounds are, let's say, 4 quarterly. So, 4 times your principal amounts will be increased. So, overall, your interest rate will be higher than the annual rate if you estimate the average of that total changes in that amount of that value. Alright? So, that's why effective annual rates will be higher than the nominal annual rate. So you have I don't exactly remember the lecture slides. I think the lecture slide is slide 42. Alright. If you have a look at your slide 42, in that slides you have a example is given regarding the 3 different investment. One investment is annually. Rate of interest is 8%, right? Second one is a semi-annually, rate of interest is changed. So rate of interest, I don't exactly remember, but it's like around 8.16%, right? EAR, I'm talking about EAR. So annually, EAR is of course similar to nominal because it's annual. Semi-annually, that rate of interest changed from 8% to 8.16%, right? And if we invest quarterly, then that interest rate change from 8.16 to 8.22. So 8.22 is a quarterly effective annual rate. So the idea is that if your number of compounds are increasing, EAR will be higher. EAR is keep going up. Alright? So that's the ideas behind nominal annual rate and effective annual rate. So think more practically. In what situations EAR is applicable? So mainly EAR is applicable in situations of bank overdraft. It means credit cards. Right? So in credit cards, basically effective annual rates will be applicable where the principal amounts will be compounded multiply in the multiple period if you do not return money back to bank in that time period. Alright? So therefore your principal amount is getting high, your obligations, your liabilities is getting more high. Alright? So that's all about your interest rates. Alright, so now we move on to the last learning outcome, which is special applications for time value. Special applications for time value. So in this learning outcome, we're going to talk about the four different types of or four different special applications in relation to time value. So the first one is how much cash flows requires to have future value. Right? What does it mean? The example is, for example, you are planning to study abroad in next 5 years. Alright, so in next 5 years, let's say after 5 years you need $50,000. Alright? And you went to bank and then you ask bank if you deposit money in bank because you don't want to take a risk. Alright, so that's why you're looking for less risky investment. Because you really require $50,000 after 5 years. So you go to bank, and you have a low risk and of course low return as well. So you went to bank and you asked that how much rate of interest you are offering. You will offer if I will deposit money in your account for next 5 years. Right? So let's say bank says that 10%. Right? So in that case, you have to estimate that how much money you have to deposit every year in bank. That money become $50,000 after 5 years. Alright? Of course, if you will deposit $10,000 every year in bank, that money will be $50,000, obviously. But not just $50,000, that money gonna be more than $50,000, right? Because of compound interest or interest, you're gonna earn interest every year. So the answer is not $10,000, not exact $10,000. Of course, it's gonna be less than $10,000 because you're gonna earn interest. So now the question is, why not $10,000? Because if you're making investment or depositing $10,000 every year, so 5 years later, the rate of 10%, the value will be more than $50,000. All right. So why not $10,000? Right? Or why we need this formula? Because this thing is quite obvious. So why we need this formula to get it? Because the reason is that we need to know exact amount in order to have exact $50,000. If you are making investment more than let's say $10,000, so your future value will be above $50,000. Right? If future value is above $50,000, but your money requirements is only $50,000. So means, let's say I invested $10,000 every year with interest, my money becomes $55,000. But I need only $50,000. So the $5,000 are extra is in my bank, which is considered as a waste of money or waste of investment. instead of putting money that at additional $5,000, instead of putting in bank, I can invest that money in other investments where I can earn better interest than the banks. Maybe I can buy some financial instruments that maximize my return. But of course, some other financial instruments have a high risk. I'm not talking about US Treasury bills or municipal bonds, but some other financial instruments, they have a high risk, so you have a chance to lose. But anyway, if you lose $5,000, obviously overall it's not going to make effect on your $50,000 because bank investment is considered as a safe investment compared to some other financial instruments. Right? So therefore, we need an exact amount in order to convert that amount into $50,000 after 5 years. Alright? So what will be the formula? So I repeat, future value is given, we're going to calculate cash flows. Alright? So future value is given. Alright? That is the cash flows. Alright? So by applicable these formulas, we can estimate that how much annual or fixed cash flow required to have a future value. That's the meaning of first special application. Alright? Now second special application is a loan amortization. Loan amortizations. Loan amortization means how much periodic installments we require for loan repayments. Alright? So in that case, present value is given in order to estimate the cash flows. So we require cash flows for loan repayments. So how much is periodic installments or periodic equal installments we require for loan repayments. Alright? So the formula is we are estimating the cash flows. Alright. So present value, rate, alright. That is the formula applicable for loan amortizations. That will help us to estimate the installments we require to repay. Alright. Now we move on to the third one. Here. So the third one is finding interest rate. So finding interest rate means, let's say right now you have $10,000, right, which is your present value, and you want to earn $50,000 in 5 years. So you have present value, you have future value, you have a time period which is 5 years. So now you have to find any investment which convert your $10,000 into $50,000 after 5 years. Alright? So this formula will help us to estimate the interest. Right? So the formula is a future value divided by present value 1 and minus. Right. We just rearrange our simple formula. Right? So we rearrange, let's say the formula is the present value is future value 1 plus RT. So there are simple cash flows for present value. If we rearrange that formula, if you rearrange it, you're going to get this number because we have to estimate the R. Alright? In order to estimate the R, we rearrange this formula, we're going to get the formula to estimate the interest rate. Alright? So now we move on to the last one. The fourth one is finding period. Alright? What does it mean, finding period? Finding period means, let's say you go to bank to ask rate of interest that bank normally offer on the deposits. So let's say I take the same example. Right now you have $10,000. You want it's become $50,000 in future, right? So, and you ask bank at how many percent rate of interest bank is offering. Let's say bank is offering 10% rate of interest. So in that situation, you have to estimate that how long you have to keep your $10,000 in bank to turn into $50,000 at the rate of 10%. Right? So in that case, finding period will help us to estimate the period or the year which we require to convert our present value into future value, or cash flows into future value. Right? So the formula is log in future value divided by present value divided by the in 1 plus r. Right? So this formula will help us to estimate the time. Right? So that's all about the special applications for time value. Alright? So that's all about topic 3. So I quickly revise about topic 3. What we learned in topic 3, we learned about 3 things, 3 learning outcomes in topic 3. So the first one is present value and future value. In present value and future value, we learned about 4 different types of cash flows: single amount cash flows, present value, future value, or single amount cash flows. Second one is the annuity. Annuity means equal periodic payments. So that's called the annuity. So in annuity, we learn about 2 different kinds of annuity: ordinary annuity and annuity due. Ordinary annuity means when we make investment at the end of the period. That's called the ordinary annuity. And annuity due means when cash flows are in the beginning of period. So always remember that annuity due value is higher than the ordinary annuity. Alright? Third one, third cash flows is a perpetuity. Perpetuity means when life is infinity. Alright, so when the time period is not given. So in these situations, we will estimate only present value because future value is related to the time. We don't want to estimate future value. Alright? And the last cash flow is mixed stream cash flows. Mixed stream cash flows means unequal periodic payment. So we have present value and future value using mixed stream cash flows. Alright? So in mixed stream cash flows, we gonna apply a single amount, so simple present value and future value formulas. And then after we got the different present value or different future value, we add all in order to find the total present value or total future value. Alright? So that's your first learning outcome. Second one is interest rates. So we learn about 2 interest rate, nominal interest rate, and effective annual rates. So effective annual rates period is normally shorter than the annual. It could be quarterly, it could be semi-annually, monthly. Alright? And the third one is a special application. The special application, we look at 4 different kinds of applications. The first one is when you require a particular cash flows to earn a future value. Right? So that's cash flows, the first one. Second one is a loan amortization. How much equal installments or equal payments we require to repay the loan. That's called loan amortization. Third one is a find period. Find period means when the fourth one. So third one is a find interest rate. Find interest means future value is given, present value is given, and time period is given. So we have to estimate that how much interest or rate we require to convert present value or cash flows into future value. Alright? And the last one is the finding period. We have rate of interest is given, we have present value, future value is given, so we have to find how long it will take to convert that present value into future value, alright, future value into present value. Alright. So that's all about the topic 3. So make sure you have a look at your lecture slides to know the calculations and activities related to 3 different learning outcomes. Alright. Thank you very much. See you in next time.